Today we're going to talk about, this topic came on because of T-ball starting in our neighborhood. T-ball, AA, AAA, quadruple A, 6A, whatever the heck it goes to. And
I didn't even know there was any A's.
it's a lot of A's. And we've noticed because they practice and they play at the park close to our house.
Yeah.
And we see a huge emphasis on games.
Yeah.
Really early in the season. And multiple games every week.
Yeah, every week, every weekend.
At the expense of practice.
Yeah. Yeah, they're practicing like 5-6 practices and then they enter games. And because we talked to a lot of parents, and we're talking youth. This is youth. We're not talking high school, college, nothing like that. Because high school, of course, you have to play games.
T-ball.
T-ball.
AA, yeah.
I know, but I just want to clarify. We're talking about kids 5 to 12. And so this is what we're seeing is this emphasis on you play 2 or 3 games or practices, and then every weekend it's game.
And baseball's complicated.
Every sport's complicated.
I know, but particularly baseball. I mean, there's so many skills you have to learn in baseball. I can't even imagine the developmental process of baseball. It's got to be just lengthy.
Yeah.
And so I feel like they flipped it. So I feel like they have the emphasis on the games. Mm-hmm. I think it should be completely upside down. I think the emphasis should be on the practice and the development.
Yeah.
And then the game should be second. You can only have one thing first.
Yeah.
Right? We tell you this when you raise kids. You can only emphasize one thing first. And it should be the development and the practice rather than the games.
Yeah. Well, I'll give you an example. I went to this was actually really cool. These were 8 to 10, I think they were 10-year-olds, and they did a 3-on-3 basketball tournament, which is a really cool idea because when you do 3-on-3, there's so much movement that has to happen. Oh, yeah. And so I absolutely love the idea. But the problem is the team I was watching, I knew the team, I knew the coach, I knew the people, and so they'd only practiced like twice before they did this tournament. And when I'm watching it, it's like it shows because there was a lot of traveling calls. They're not properly setting picks for each other. They don't know how to guard people off the drives. So it's like all those amazing fundamentals that could be taught and established in that 3-on-3. The coach is like yelling from the sideline, like, no, you have to be stable when you set a pick and stuff like that. And all that's happening is the kids are getting frustrated because they're losing. And I felt like the kids didn't get a good benefit out of it. Because imagine if they practice and they went into the game and they were able to work on the stuff they practice.
You can't teach stuff during a game.
You can't.
You can emphasize stuff you've already practiced in a game.
Yes.
You can say, hey guys, remember we worked on moving laterally on our legs and you guys are standing straight up. Right? Yes. That you can do. But if you've never worked laterally on your legs, you can't say to a kid, hey, get into a deep knee bend and move laterally on your legs when you're playing defense.
Yeah, if you've never
the kid's
practiced
like, we never did that.
Yeah, I've never done it before. And I'm supposed to do it in real time?
And it stinks because you see these kids and they want to work so hard and they want to win and they want to do the right thing, but you're not setting them up for success. And I think that's what's so disappointing.
Yeah, well, they're developing bad habits in the game.
Right.
Because, like you said, they haven't learned the right way.
Right.
So usually in a game, some kids naturally will get it, but usually you're going to do it wrong or not perfect. It's very rarely you go into a game and you do everything perfect. Mm-hmm. So if they're not doing it correctly, they're just going to keep developing those bad habits because, like we said, it's just game after game after game after game after game.
Yeah.
So if they don't have time to practice the good habits, they're going to develop bad habits.
Right. We always talk about, we were talking about basketball, but let's shift a little bit to water polo. If I have a student that doesn't know how to egg beater, tread water correctly, and they get in the deep end, and they start doing egg beater wrong, they practice that bad habit. It is so hard, virtually impossible to fix that bad habit that's been ingrained in them. Yeah. And that's, you can go down the line on that. Yeah. If you have let's say one of those basketball players, let's say all he's doing is dribbling and chucking up shots. Mm-hmm. Well, when he gets into high school, how is he going to be a team player?
Right.
All you've done is had him chuck up shots. Right? Is he going to be moving without the ball like Steph Curry? No. Is he going to be setting screens for other people? No. Is he going to be rebounding the ball? No. Is he going to be doing all the intangible things that actually win a basketball game? Yeah. No, because you've told him his value is in dribbling around and chucking the ball up.
It's actually interesting you say that because I wanted to talk about, too, this is interesting because we're starting to see this at the professional level where these kids who are naturally gifted, they're tall, and some of them are just tall, big, strong, or they can shoot well or jump well. And so their whole life, they just blow through youth sports because they're so good and so much better. Then when they get to professional, and we see this in the NBA, they get to the NBA and they're not good.
Right.
They're good for a year or two, but when everybody realizes you don't have fundamental footwork, they fade out of the NBA.
Well,
Nobody wants them.
remember Andrew Bynum?
Yeah,
of the
Andrew Bynum.
Lakers?
Yeah.
They had to get Kareem to teach him how to be a center.
He should have known by the time he entered.
Right. Kareem should have been refining him.
Yes.
Not working on like basic footwork and hook shots and stuff. Like he should have had those shots.
Yeah.
At least halfway down.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? By the time you're a professional, don't you think?
You would think by the time you're
It's like,
in
no,
NBA,
I need to teach you a drop step.
Right.
Are you kidding?
Well, and then you see those players, they shut down and they become mental head cases.
Because
it's not fair to them.
It's not fair. You're right.
It's not
because
fair.
Bynum, there he is in the NBA with professional players,
Well,
and he's
back
supposed
up.
to try out a hook shot in front of like 30,000 people.
Right. But his whole life, what have people been telling him?
Slam dunk.
You're amazing, you're so good, you're so strong, you're so fast. So his whole childhood is you're amazing, and then he gets to the professional level, he hasn't had much fundamental. And now some people get lucky and they have, but see, this is also when they skip college, because there's so many good college coaches. I don't know if he did or not. See, that would be an interesting statistic. But like when
Didn't hurt Kobe.
Yeah, but see,
Didn't
Kobe,
hurt
I
Garnett.
know. But some people have it, though. They have that mental, I know. But you think Bynum was like at the court for 20 hours a day, is that 5 years old dribbling? You know, those guys are freaking
Kobe had
natures. We're
good-
talking about like, those guys have a mental
Yeah.
strength of, I don't have that. But we're talking about general people. But we're saying, you know, when they don't get the fundamentals and when they're kids. And also, what we see all the time, too, is that not getting the fundamentals, we're going to do that in a different video.
What?
Talk about not being coached by coaches.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll say that. We're going to say that. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm so
on
excited. That's
episode
episode 3. I'm sorry.
So let's circle back around and just reiterate what our main point is, because we've got a lot of things.
Yeah, and I have one more thing I want to.
Oh, you want to go one more?
Yeah.
We're saying that at the youth level, especially, we think the emphasis should be on practice and development. We're not saying you shouldn't play games.
No.
You absolutely should play games. But put the emphasis on the development and have so if there's an 8-week season, right? Maybe week 6, you do a game every week. So 6, 7, and 8, you do 3 games.
Well, there's also.
And then so you've practiced for 6 weeks and you play 3 games, as opposed to practicing for 1 week and playing 10 games.
Right.
I'm just
Games are
saying
not
we
horrible,
can have a
but
happy
simple.
medium here. We're not saying don't ever play a game. We're just saying flip the script and put the
Focus on
emphasis on the
practice.
practice and have the games be a little bit less, 1 or 2, 3 games maybe per season, and have that not be the main focus of the season.
Yeah. Well, I ever heard this kid talking at a restaurant recently, and he was all disappointed and deflated.
You see a lot of things at restaurants. Are you like even paying attention to what's going on at our table?
I'm not. I gotta get the scoop.
Good Lord.
I like good scoop. But it's only because like you know something's going down, right? So you have to. I'm just.
You are
there's-
snooping.
We're snuggled in there, okay?
You are
So listen,
snooping.
okay.
Don't eat next to her. She's gonna be listening to
Don't
your
eat and talk.
conversation, and it's gonna come on episode.
Episode
Of
28.
no one's gonna watch this. It's gonna be like I was watching a restaurant, like that was me.
Me.
How
I said
dare
that.
you? All right, go ahead.
I got so many good stuff from restaurants. But so this guy, anyways, this kid was, because you could just tell the kid was like pouting and the
talk
goose
to
just
you.
shut down. And the dad's talking to him.
Okay.
And the dad was trying to get the kid. He's like, well, if you want to pitch more, you need to talk to the coach, right? Of course, those situations we hear all the time. You need to talk to coach. And then all of a sudden, as the conversation goes on, I hear they had 1 practice. And the dad's like, well, you've only had 1 practice, so maybe the next practice you can talk to the coach about it. And I'm like, what? Are you kidding me?
Don't talk to the coach after the first practice. Don't talk to the coach after the first practice.
That should be its own
That's
episode.
ridiculous. That's episode
not to irritate
5.
your coach. This is what we're seeing at the youth level. And so we're from California. So this is what we're seeing in the California region. It's kind of interesting as we've been doing these videos to have people comment, because I am actually curious to see in different states, different countries, is this the same thing? Or is this more just a Californian mentality we've developed? You think it's everywhere?
I do.
You think in Louisiana,
I do.
the dad's getting on the kid
I do.
because he's not scoring enough? Mississippi?
Yep.
How about Montana?
I think this is
No one
universal.
plays sports in Montana.
I think this is universal. I think this is a universal
No one plays
issue.
sports in Montana. Montana people, they're just happy. They're just happy when it's not freezing cold out.
From Shaquatics Water Polo, I'm David Farkas.
And I'm Brittany. I really like Montana. I've never been, but I'm sure it's great.
We'll see you next time.